From the Opopco Studios in Oklahoma City, this is an OSU update. I'm Jenni Carlson. Part 3 of Sports Illustrated's investigative series on Oklahoma State football has been released. This one looks at the drugs in Oklahoma State football, and Gina Mizell joins us on the phone. Gina, you've had a chance to look over the story, to digest it a little bit. What stands out to you as you look at this Part 3 of this investigative series?
Well, 40 former players spoke with SI, and you know, the stuff in it is stuff, again, you would kind of expect. Obviously, it sounds like marijuana was the drug of choice, and it paints a culture of many players being frequent users of it, even mentioned smoking before games or smoking daily, and even some that were dealing drugs. And it goes beyond marijuana. There's a anecdote in there that talks about a cocaine party and things like that. So again, you know, looking at the culture as a whole, it just says that it was a lax program, that certain players got special treatment for the drug testing program, depending on how good of a player you are. And yeah, just paints a culture of rampant drug use and dealing inside the Oklahoma State program.
Seems like one of the more interesting parts, at least to me, Gina, was about Joel Tubman, a strength and conditioning coach who was basically made the counselor for you know, drugs on the team, the guy that would talk to guys that had tested positive. And SI brings to light several discrepancies in his resume, his bio. Talk a little bit about Tubman and maybe some of the fallout that could come with the revelations that SI brings up about him.
Yeah, you mentioned that he does work under Rob Glass in the strength and conditioning program. He's also he does church services as well, and several former players and current players, you know, go to his services, and he's kind of, again, one of those guys that the players lean on for a mentor. Rob Glass has spoken very highly of him in the past. Same with plenty of former and current players, and yeah, it talks about, like you said, that there were some mistakes on his bio or some embellished things on his bio, and he's not a licensed drug counselor, and he's basically accused of, you know, maybe not having the best tactics of trying to get these kids that are tested positive off of drugs, that he suggested, you know, reducing their usage rather than just stopping the using and things like that. So again, it's going to be interesting to see what Oklahoma State does as far as if he remains in that role, if they try something different, if they just look at this drug policy as a whole, and that sort of thing going forward.
Yesterday, after Part 2 of SI's series came out on academics, we had a chance to hear from an OSU official for the first time. Marilyn Middlebrook, who oversees the Academic Services Center, spoke and talked about the charges that have been leveled against her department.
I'm shocked. I'm shocked that anyone could write about this unit. And I'm very proud of the president that he is going to pursue this and get to the truth. The academic staff that works with student athletes, these are people who've dedicated their lives to helping these students. They will not do anything dishonest, but they will work their days, hours, to get these kids through school. Not only through school or for a degree, but they're trying to help them with life skills and life choices. The building in which the student athletes study is very open. It has lots of glass. It has a full-time staff member in every room. They are constantly watched. They're individually supervised. I don't think we could set up a better unit than what we have to watch for anything that could go wrong. I've worked in athletics through academics for 17 years. I've been in higher education most of my adult life. Integrity is absolutely critical in both areas. Since I began this job, I have worked diligently, and so have our staff, to maintain integrity, to keep things honest, to do the right thing, to follow the rules. I can say no more to it. We've dedicated our lives to integrity.
Gina, you had a chance to sit down with Marilyn Middlebrook for an even more extensive interview yesterday afternoon. What was your feeling walking away from that meeting? You know, a lot leveled against academics as being having misdeeds, and obviously that's an issue not only internally but with the NCAA. Do you foresee this possibly prompting any changes in the academic services there in the athletic department?
Well, I'd anticipate that Oklahoma State and the NCAA investigator that comes in to look at the school will certainly look at academics. I think they're going to look at everything that's involved in this report and kind of come to their own conclusions. But yeah, Marilyn Middlebrook has been at this for a long time and staunchly defended her department, just like in that clip you just played. And you know, there are certain things that you can only control so much. Like she said, the way the academic center is set up with the glass and with staff members in every room, it'll be very difficult to cheat. I've heard that from her, and I've heard that from former tutors who worked in that department. But certainly you can only control professors so much, and what they do as far as grades are concerned, a lot of times it's subjective. A lot of times, if somebody were to go somewhere else on campus and participate in wrongdoing, you can only control so much. And to think that cheating isn't happening all over a college campus and not just in athletics, is a little bit silly. So again, they're doing as much as they possibly can and have done it for several number of years. Marilyn Middlebrook's been there since 1997 to you know, be as correct as possible. And you know, again, I think the NCAA, I'm sure, will look at the academics, and I'm sure they'll look internally. But right now, they believe that they've done just about everything that they can to make sure that everything's clean and everything is you know, correct.
You can read more about our report on the academic side of SI's investigation. We'll continue to have ongoing coverage today about the story about drugs, and of course tomorrow will be focused on the Orange Pride and whether sex was given to recruits, and we'll continue to have that coverage as well. Be sure to stay with the best coverage team anywhere at newsok.com and every day in the Oklahoman.